It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. She was a child, and I was a child in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee. With a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me, and this was the reason that long ago in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud by night, chilling my Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kingsmen came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so all the night tide I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in her sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the side of the sea. Hi, Lucy Lou Wales here to talk about Edgar Allan Poe, Annabel Lee. Annabel Lee's classic. There's a reason why it's a classic, just like Romeo and Juliet, except it's a little bit more direct with the whole death thing. The reason why Edgar Allan Poe is still around, such as like William Shakespeare, is because they are so relatable today. This guy, the narrator. Of course, all of Edgar Allan Poe's has some mental issues, so you can't really depend on all of their opinions, or their narration, or the stories in general. But they're quite interesting, and they're very well written, and I love them all. So, yeah. Girls, you know that high school kid in 9th grade who's been obsessed with you for like 4 or 5 years since middle school? Yeah, that's that guy. He's obsessed. I mean, the title of the poem is Annabel Lee. That's already implying the high obsession that he has. The poem is about her and only her. He uses the possessive noun for her, my, several times. My is a possessive noun, yes. If you say my Annabel Lee, clearly you're trying to say you own her, you want her. As in stanza 2, covet her, you yearn her, you want her, you desire her, you crave her. Yes, obsession. The cool thing about Edgar Allan Poe, he's a wordsmith, he's a genius. He makes the ugliest language, English, into something gorgeous and beautiful, just simply because he knows how to put words together. So we'll start off with the more familiar William Shakespeare in his sonnets. He uses iambic pentameter, which is a very lyrical, musical thing, which is a form of anapest. Edgar Allan Poe also uses a form of anapest, but he uses anapestic trimeter, if I am saying that right, and that goes da-da-dum, 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 which is very repetitious. He uses this mostly in the last stanza, the 6th stanza of Annabel Lee, and it's very beautiful. I love it, but I love Edgar Allan Poe, so obviously I'm fangirling it. Another thing that I loved that he did is that in The Kingdom by the Sea, he says it over and over and over again in the entire poem. In the beginning, in the first stanza, it's very happy, it's very whimsical. You know, you imagine the bright clouds and the sun and this castle on this high stony cliff, and the sea is all calm and nice. And by the time you get to the end of the poem, generally it takes a steep fall. Stanza 3. kingdom by the sea, jagged rocks, raging ocean, sea, water, kingdoms crumbling because this girl held it up. Mother Nature holds it up. Annabel Lee could be a symbolism for Mother Nature, but that's a high hypothesis. We don't have to follow that. But she's gone, and everything's depressing. Obviously, that's also a dramatic Foley if it was relating to weather, but there's really no specific imagery on weather, so we're not going to go there either. So, yeah, Kingdom by the Sea gets super negative super fast. And I love how you can get different emotions just from the same line in different places in the poem. The next thing is some words you may not know. Usually when you read these sort of things, you gotta read it with a dictionary next to you. Seraphs, angelic being, you know, gods from the sky, heaven, hell, angelic beings. Coveted, yearn, desire, crave. Sepulcher, it's a tomb, gravestone. But back then it was probably a tomb. If she was a maiden, she was probably rich. If she was beautiful, she was probably rich also. So stanza 1, super happy. Stanza 2, really obsessive. Stanza 3, yeah, the cloud came and took her. I'm pretty sure something happened to her. I want to guess she committed suicide. She jumped off that cliff, man. Not to be mean, but probably because of the boy's very obsessive habits, but probably not that. The cloud took her, and he's in denial. He's in denial that the heavens don't like her because she's so beautiful, because he's so in love with her, because they are so in love. Honestly, we never hear the girl's opinion, so we wouldn't know. We only hear the guy's side. So, at that point in the poem, about the 5th stanza, he thinks heaven and hell have the same implications. He either doesn't believe in them, or they're equally as evil. Because how can some god, or the gods, make something so beautiful and then take her away? Why would you take something so beautiful away from this world? Why would you take it away from me? That's what he wants to know. But he'll never get an answer, so he's always in denial. And then, you know, obviously his dreams turn into nightmares. His nightmares are his dreams. They're all awful. So when he says, I go and see her by the side of the sea in her sepulcher, I also believe he jumped off the cliff to be with her in the same way. He wants to be with her no matter what. He wants nothing more in life than to be with her, and the gods took her away. Something took her away. Probably natural causes. Back then it would be very common. But another great thing about poems back then is that they try to immortalize people with poems, something that beautiful. Because there was no photography, there was no way of remembering that, so why not do it with writing? Annabel Lee could have been a real person, but we may not never know. Plus, Edgar Allan Poe sort of had a thing for dead girlfriends, you know, walling them up in walls because of their pet cat, or why not throw them off a cliff, you know? Why not chop them up and put them in the floorboards? But that is the amazing thing about Poe, and that is the amazing thing about his writers and his works and his metaphors, his imagery is just everything. Edgar Allan Poe is amazing, and I hope the recital and the literary analysis was at least a little bit fun. And that's it. Bye.